of it all, untouchable, a new animal. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made.
Hey guys, welcome to the bonus video for this week. Wanted to cover a few things that we talked about in the earlier video and just go a little bit more in depth about where I'm putting my feet, where I'm putting my hands, and what shape I'm looking for my horse. So this video will be, if you're not familiar with the extra videos, this video will be a bit more breakdown, a bit more technical aspect as to how I'm using my hands, what I'm looking for out of my horse, and the different lines and shapes, and kind of breaking down our horse's body. That way this kind of training applies to all horses, not just Peanut that you see in this video. And that really has been the strength of our program, is that these techniques and maneuvers work on every single horse, right? This is just using a horse's body mechanics. So these bonus videos, all about body mechanics, all about kind of refining your ideas and theory behind it. So with that said, let's get started. We'll do a lot of replay in this video, a lot of drawing some lines, helping each other understand what it is I'm trying to get here out of my horse. So very first thing I want to focus on, you may have missed it, and that's why I do these videos, is the way I warm this horse up. The very first thing I did kind of sets the tone for the rest of my ride, and it was about that backup, and then about this little bump and squeeze my feet here. And this is every single horse, every single ride, so important to me that we test these buttons. So you saw in the video with Marley how we went to our spurs and our horse is able to lift her back. This is how that starts. So when we go to back Peanut off here, I want you to pay attention to the fact that my spurs are not making her back up. And that was a question we had before, is why don't we use our feet to back our horse up? And for me, the reason is because we want to use our feet to lift our horse's belly. So if we use our feet to lift that belly up, we can't use our feet to bring our front legs back to us. I want to rely on my hands to be able to stand my shoulders up so that my feet are always free to round my horse. And that's going to be really important when we go into this counter canter, really important when we go into this hip control, hip round moves, and the indirect turns. So let's break that back up down a little bit here. We'll slow it down, and I'll kind of show you the round shape that we're trying to get. There's a difference between backing and backing well. I know you've heard me say that a lot. So right away I'm walking here, I'm going to lift my hands and go to my feet, and you're going to see her quicken her step and shove into me. So I'm going to close my hands. You see that kind of tension in the reins. I'm going to say, get back to me, stay here. And that tension in the reins is really important. I want to make sure that my horse understands there is a wall in your mouth that you are not allowed to shove into, even if you feel my spurs underneath. So that way I'm talking directly to her back legs and not so much asking her front feet to accelerate too. If I want to do that, I'll slide my hands forward and give her room. So as she backs up here, I really like the way she backs up. So she really gets her weight shifted onto her back end. And we can see that here with this little circle. And you can see how I'm the highest point of the circle. And then behind her hip, it rounds off. And in front of her head, it rounds off. So I want my horse to get in that round shape. So when they put their hock and their jaw closer together, that's really what we're looking for. The other piece that I want to see is I want to see a horse that'll leave its legs underneath of it. So I want to be making that kind of triangle, getting my horse that little elephant on a teacup, right? So she'll bring her hock and her hind legs underneath of her and get round to a point that's directly underneath me. So if her hind legs and her front legs will come together like this, then she's more likely to get round underneath of me. If you look at a horse back up and they don't leave their hind underneath of them that far, then they're not shifting their weight onto their back end, and they're just pushing themselves away from their front feet. And it's just moving backwards, which is wrong. So as we put this video back in motion, you can see she starts to back off of my reins. You see the slack be created in between my hands and the bit. So that's a horse that moves willingly off of the bit. That's what I'm looking for. So we move back forward. I'm going to push her back up into the bridle here. Right before she spooks, you can see how she starts to get round a little bit. So right there, she spooks a little bit, jumps. I'm going to bring her back into that position. Just going to ignore the fact that she kind of lost her attention a little bit on me and go right back to work. So right back up into that position. You see me go to my spurs here. See that back end come up underneath of us. That's exactly what we're looking for. So she stays down in her neck, stays down, broke into the reins. Right there, she gives her face through my feet. So we're riding from our foot to our hand. She's breaking her neck as I bring my spurs in. And that truly is the very beginnings of every single ride on every single horse we work with. And it's a really small, really quick thing. But I mean, that was a 5-minute breakdown of something you may have missed completely. And to me, and to Macy too, probably one of the most important aspects of our ride is that button works always. You've got to respect my hands, you got to be able to move off the bit, and you definitely have to be able to come up off my spurs and be round in a backup. And that's so important to me, because if you don't make sure that piece works, then all the backups that you see throughout this video are for nothing, right? So if that piece doesn't mean what you think it means, if it doesn't reset things and get them back round, then any of the backups that you see me make throughout the rest of this video are for absolutely nothing. We're just moving backwards, and it's not going to help you. So one of the big things you want to focus on, slow down your corrections, slow down your backups, and make sure that horse actually does something with its body that's going to make things afterwards better. So with that in mind, the other piece I wanted to address in this video is I wanted to talk about this counter canter a bit. So basic maneuver, counter canter here. We're going to go regular lead circle on one side, counter canter on the other, straight line through the middle. So making an X across the center, 2 arcs on both ends. With the counter canter, we have several different maneuvers inside of it. So I can counter canter with my hip on the outside. I can counter canter with my head on the inside. I can counter canter with my head on the outside. I can counter canter with my head and my hip on the outside. I can counter canter and push my body out of the circle, or I can canter and push my body into the circle. So even though it's one maneuver, where I have my head and neck, where I have my inside leg, which leg I'm pushing with, which rein I'm pulling with, where I'm rubbing and rolling my horse, really has a difference into where my horse gets soft and how I can fix and address problems that crop up as I lope around. So let's slow this down. We'll take a look at it, see how we can break this counter canter and regular lead circle down and make this maneuver a little bit simpler for you. So the first thing that I do with Peanut here is I'm taking her head to the inside of the circle. It would be the outside of my lead. And one of the big things that I want to watch out for here is I don't want to take her head too far over. So I want to bring her chin into the point of her shoulder. And I want her to be flexible in her neck, but not unlock her jaw. So that to me is a big deal. Anything that we do with our horse, I don't necessarily want them to untrack their jaw and twist their head. I would say that like 90% of the time, if my horse twists its head between its ears and the tip of its nose, it's leaning down. So you can imagine how, as that horse rotates its head, so here she would be bringing her nose to the left side of this and her ears to the right side. If she twists her head instead of keeping it straight like she did through that line, she's going to be falling down on the inside of that circle. And the bracier your horse is, the more you're going to run into this problem. So if my horse is braced up on my left rein here, so if I pull that left rein and she braces against it, she's going to lean and twist her head against that. So that's where we really use that backup and that indirect turn to kind of straighten that out and make sure that her head stays straight when I pull that rein straight in line. So she's going to try to twist down into the outside as you pick up that hand if she's not soft in her neck, in her withers, and her shoulder on that left side. As always, anything that happens on the left side is going to happen on the right side, so watch it on both sides. They're going to want to twist their head more one side than the other. Something to really pay attention to. You're looking for the ability to draw that hand to you and keep their head and neck square to their shoulders. Now, as I did this counter canter circle right here, she really leaned hard into my hand. She pushed forward. You see me back her off. But more importantly than that, I back her off in the shape I was trying to create. So I'm maintaining the same position that I'm in right here in this counter canter when I go to back her off. I'm trying to put that chin to the point of my left shoulder. So we'll watch that again in slow speed here. Here's the correct circle first. Going to draw up on her. She gives her face really soft here. Stays broke into that shape here. I really am trying to keep her balanced on my outside rein now. So after I've got the softness on my left hand, bringing my right hand into that to keep her face square into her shoulders. If we watch both of those pieces on top of each other, we want to see the subtle differences, right? On the bottom, she leans into my reins. You see the tension in my reins as I ask for her face. If she's going to lean into me, I'm going to shut it down, right? So I'll watch that back one more time. I'll pause it, and you can see how much harder I have to pull on my left hand to get the same kind of softness. So we'll pause it kind of the same exact moment in time, and you'll see the slack in the top video, how I've got my head and neck in position and that she's softly giving that bit, versus the bottom side where you see all that tension through my hand, through the rein, and how she's actually opening her mouth. If she doesn't lean against me, she won't open her mouth and pull that bit through her mouth and escape that way. So as we go into the correction for that, pull through our hands, we're going to put her chin on the point of her shoulder here. We're going to over-exaggerate that position. So we'll pause it here. We'll take a look at what that looks like. That proper shape that we're going for is right here, with her chin to the point of her shoulder, both sides of her mouth squarely in both of my hands here. If she's got one side more than the other, she's going to lean, she's going to twist her head, she's not going to bring her chin directly in line with her neck and her chest. She's going to bow out one side or the other. So really important to pay attention to. As we move on, we're going to attempt the same exact maneuver. We're going to give her plenty of chances. We're going to hold her hand through this, show her how to do this, let her practice. So as I press on her again here, she doesn't push on me. That's a pretty good circle right there. Coming through, we're going to ask again, and you see that same correction. So she's going to lean into me here. She's going to lean forward. I'm going to back her off. Ideally, she backs straight and doesn't hook and curl around like that. But because she's not soft, you see her hook off and she doesn't stay in the line that I backed her off in. So I want a horse that will just be giving to me right there, really soft, asking for this and not leaning anywhere against me. So the more I've attempted this, you see how she's really slowed down a ton. She's getting this left front under control, and more importantly, she's starting to land flat on her right front. So the better she gets this left front under control, the more this stays up and down, the more time this right front has to land out there flat. So watching that right front start to land heel toe instead of toe heel, and we get that good split in our front legs. So that's really what we're looking for through this maneuver. When I bring their head to the left side of this counter canter, that's what I'm trying to get. So as she starts to step underneath herself with this left front, flex down into that pastern, hold the ground longer, it gives her right front more time to stretch and flatten out. So you can see where she's got that good V up front. She's taking a huge step with her right front. It needs to travel straight ahead. And her left front is underneath of her, directly in that line underneath the saddle horn, underneath her withers. So her right front leg, straight in line with my reins, straight to my other hand. Her left front leg, straight underneath her withers. That's a balanced front end. That's what we're going for. Putting this back in motion, you see her leave the bridle a couple times. That's a good thing. That's how I know I'm kind of bumping against where she's comfortable, and I see a lot better line going across there. So that's it for the bonus video this week, guys. I hope that helps kind of shed some light on what I'm going for. In the upcoming videos, we're going to address indirect turns. I really want to stress those and how important they are and how much they've changed. I have so much footage for you guys. If I could make 5 videos a week, I promise you I would. I hope you found this helpful. If you liked it, feel free to tell the world. We are having such a blast with this stuff. It's all because of you guys. Also, don't forget to check out the Discord. As the World Show goes live, we'll be on the Discord chatting with you guys in real time, and we'll be covering the classes, kind of giving you our input as we see it. I really want that to be a fun thing for you guys, kind of a never-ending, I guess, always available chat. So anytime I'm home making these videos, I will be logged into the Discord. Feel free to send me a question. You want to chat, I'll be on there. Kind of like a office hours for you guys. I would love to set up a time that we can just be on there chatting with you guys. It would be really fun. It's if you're not familiar with Discord, it's like a chat room type deal. There's audio and just chat, text chat. So as all-star subscribers to our channel, you guys get access to all of the different channels. You get access to voice. If people are not at least fans of our Patreon page, they can't even comment. So they'll be able to read it, but they won't be able to say anything. So you guys get special privileges. I hope you guys had an awesome Halloween. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next week, where we'll be covering more videos. We got tons of stuff. So have a great weekend, guys. See you soon.
Above it all, untouchable.